inspired and strengthen our people, that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. May I humbly invite the nominee to take his seat. Whilst the nominee is preparing to take the seat, I have few announcements regarding movement during the Appointment Committee public hearing. And I will need your attention to that regard. Parliament recognizes and appreciates the media for the extensive coverage they have so far given to the committee and wishes to commend the media for their professionalism since we commenced the public hearing to vet the nominees of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana. However, we must indicate that movement on the floor during proceedings have become a source of distraction to members, and consequently, we direct that there should be limited movements, especially behind the chairman and the nominee, to enable the cameras to capture the nominee, but should not interrupt the sitting arrangement nor block the view of members. 3, people using mobile phone to capture proceedings should not move beyond the cameras. Media personnel who are not members of the press corps and who are not also accredited for the coverage of these proceedings will need the express permission of the Media Relations Department to be granted access. Media personnel or other persons who have to move necessarily must make sure they do not cross live cameras or interrupt members who may be on the floor. We urge all to take note and comply with these directives to enable us to minimize movement on the floor during the hearing and for a smooth running of the proceedings. I thank you for your attention. Honourable members, let me add, our revered guests, we conduct the proceedings without clapping, because in Parliament we do not clap, and this is part of parliamentary proceedings. We will plead with you to take your seat in patience and listen to the proceedings, take part in the proceedings in silence. Honourable members, I would proceed to ask the clerk of the committee to administer the oath.
I hereby administer the oath.
I, Abdul Rashid Hassan Pelpu,
do in the name of the Almighty Allah swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty Allah swear
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Honorable nominee, please tell us briefly in 2 minutes about yourself.
Well, my name is Rashid Pelpo. The long of it is Abdul Rashid Hassan Pelpo. I'm from Wa, and I attended all my schooling in Wa, basic, secondary in Wa, got my O-levels in Wa, got my A-levels in Wa Secondary School, both in Wa Secondary School.
Majority.
I went to the University of Cape Coast and took my first degree there in education psychology. Concurrently did a diploma in economics, after which I went to the University of Ghana at a later time to do a master's degree in international affairs and then a PhD in development policy and African studies. I have worked in various places. I worked with the National Youth Council as a district coordinator, as a regional coordinator, as the director of the Leadership Training Institute, Youth Leadership Training Institute, and then subsequently was appointed the Deputy National Coordinator in charge of Finance Administration at the head office. And then I left the National Youth Council, set up my own consultancy, 2022 up to 2024. By 2025, I was in Parliament as the Member of Parliament for Wa Central. In my first term, I was a Deputy Ranking Member for Youth. In my second term, I was the Deputy Majority Leader. But just before that, I was also appointed the Minister for Youth and Sports. And in the later regime of Excellency John Dramani Mahama, I became Minister for Private Sector Development, Public-Private Partnership. And presently, I'm still the Member of Parliament for Wa Central in the 6th term, and I'm the President of the African Parliamentarians Forum on Population and Development. So, now being appointed by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, very gracious and very thankful to him, and thanks to the Almighty Allah as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We proceed with the vetting questions by honorable members. It is my pleasure to start giving the floor to the subject matter committee members under our own standing order 2172. So I will start with the minority members of the subject matter committee, and on the list I have is Adelaide Ntim.
Thank you, Chair. Congratulations. Minister-designate. As the incoming Minister for Labor, Jobs and Employment, can you share your opinion with Ghanaians regarding the concept of the 24-hour economy proposed by the current administration? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The 24-hour economy is a policy initiative by the present NDC administration, proposed to the people of Ghana and accepted by them because they overwhelmingly approved it by the vote. It is a commitment to ensure that we engage the Ghanaian worker effectively within 24 hours and ensure that in the 3 working space of the 24-hour period we live, we have each period of working space 8 years. We can engage people within that space of 8 years at within the period of 8 hours. And the 8-hour calculated in 3 space will give you 24 hours. But the whole commitment is about ensuring that we work tirelessly to ensure we reset this country. We commit ourselves to increasing production. We create value to ensure that in Ghana, we can work to produce what we want and be able to satisfy our total, to ensure we raise the economy to the point when Ghanaians can be satisfied. And our working class, the people working for the public service and for the private sector can earn what they deserve. So within 24 hours, there are a lot of institutions and organizations that can be occupied within this space of period or time.
Much. Any further question? Please, you have the floor.
No, thank you.
Well, I will then give the floor to
Right.
Deputy
Thank you very
Ranking.
much. Honorable Minister, I accept. I think you have clearly defined that working hours are 8 hours, and within that space, within the 24 hours, it will be efficiently deployed into working. What I would like to find out is that as the economy pertains at this point in time, don't we have certain sectors of our economy working within that 24-hour cycle? I can easily cite the case of even the breweries. What makes this particular 24-hour economy so special? And how can it also reset the economy as you are talking about?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The concept and policy direction of it is to give vent to businesses, to make it not just a choice by the worker, but a policy decision by the state, to ensure that in doing so, businesses can be supported. Those businesses that were not in 24 hours can now be supported to join the rest. It's no longer going to be as and when I like it, but just when I like it and backed by government policy. So it is true that several organizations are already working 24 hours, and that's giving credence to the fact that we can get others to join them. One of the challenges that other businesses are facing working 24 hours is how much they can ensure security. And we say we'll provide the security. Is how much they can ensure enough capacity. We said we will support them with the capacity, and et cetera, How much do we have enough money to pay for electricity? We said we will support it to do so. It's simply just to boost production, create more opportunity for our people to work, and to ensure that we reshape the economy in a manner that is going to be work-based and production-based. Thank you.
Chairman, if we establish it as a policy, is it going to have a compulsory adherence? Because I believe the 24-hour, the need to work for 24 hours is always backed by demand and supply. If there's no demand for a particular service or goods, how do you develop a policy to drive this particular initiative? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I agree with you. Largely will be driven by the need for it. And we believe that several organizations have the need for it. Will want to have the 24-hour economy, operate within their working space, except that they don't have the ability, the capacity, the support, direction from government. So we are targeting those organizations that will be willing to go the extra length in increasing production by increasing employment, engaging our young people, and creating a situation where they can effectively be engaged. But this is largely for those who need it. And for government organizations, it will be backed by policy direction, meaning that there will be a certain compelling factor. For some state public organizations, to operate within that 24 hours. But for private people, it's a choice you can make. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll proceed to give the floor to Honorable Asante Boating. Or you still have a substantive question? Please do.
Thank you, Chair. Minister designate, women express their concerns on the need to increase maternity leave. What are your intentions when giving the nod in respect of this subject matter? Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
This is a very, very important area, and I think it deserves further discussions, but I support it as a person. I support the affirmative action law, which we just passed. I worked very hard to contribute to it. So it's an area that is interesting, and I believe many Ghanaians are going to support it. Thank you.
Any further question? Please, your last question, if this is not a follow-up.
Thank you, Chair. Minister designate, what plans do you have to make the National Service Scheme more attractive in terms of the allowances and job content? Thank you, Chair.
I wish the National Service Scheme was under my direct care, but it's not. But I have an overall task of ensuring that the Ghanaian worker is properly engaged, and by the dictate of the Constitution, Article 24(1), it tells that we should ensure the safety, health, and fair conditions for every worker. So I think that it is on that grounds I will support any direction that will help, increase the allowance of Ghanaian national service workers.
Thank you, Chair. I'm done.
Thank you. A follow-up on the national service.
Yes.
But let me place this on record that it is now National Service Authority. We have passed the law. The floor to Honorable Kwaku Asante Boating.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Congratulations, my brother, for your nomination. And I want to put this on record that there's one appointment that I personally am happy and comfortable with. Because all in gathered here, most of us here, about 70%, may not be able to handle that ministry. Handling Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations require some specific personality. But you look at the composure of my brother, Honorable Purple, his comportment ever since I've known him in this house. It takes somebody like him to handle labor matters. Like previously in the MPP government, we saw that of Honorable Ignatius Bafo Awua. And I must say that if you don't have that comportment and temperament and character, you will not be able to handle that ministry. So I believe the president was very careful, and it's a good nomination. I must say that. In selecting you to the labor ministry. And looking at your background, I have the belief that you have all that it takes to handle the ministry. But my first question, Honorable Chair, if you look at Section 13 of the Civil Service Act, 1993, the ministry that you're going to handle. You're supposed to initiate, if I have the indulgence of the chairman, I may read. Chairman, I want to read a quote from the session.
Go ahead.
Initiate and formulate policies taking into account the needs and aspirations of the people. That's A, 13A. B, undertake development planning in consultation with the National Development Planning Commission. And C, which is critical, coordinate, monitor, and evaluate the efficiency and effectiveness of the performance of the sector. All of us know that looking at the working force in government sector, we have about 688 employees. But we also realize that there's low productivity. But if you go further, one of your key or critical issues as a function is to ensure fair and equitable wages and salary for employees of all sectors in the economy. In the light of low productivity, even some are advocating that we may have to even reduce.
Honorable Asante Botin, your question, please.
How do you, in the context of low productivity of the public sector, try and ensure that there's fair and equitable wages for the sector? Looking at the low productivity of the sector at work, how do you superimpose the two?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sure you are talking about fair payment for work done. Yeah, and the need to reconcile the fact that you are producing, you may not be producing hard enough to earn what you are doing, and how do we reconcile it? I think it's a major area we will tackle, and I'll be very happy to be, I'm happy I'm going to do it if you do approve my nomination, because it's a big question for all Ghanaians. You have quoted the number to less than 700 of public service workers. In the last visit to the ministry, they told me it's about 800. And given the 800 and given the output and the expenditure we make on production, we make in paying our workers, then you begin to wonder whether we should do something about it. I know that the Ghanaian worker is very conscientious, very hardworking, very committed, but we need a kind of policy direction to help him to produce more, so we can pay and know that we are paying something worth the while. So thank you. It's an area, very, very important area, and I thank you for this question. We would be committing ourselves to working at it.
Thank you very much. You are entitled to. Yes, please. Do.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. In the light of the answer that you just gave, people normally see Ghanaian workers as magicians in terms of what we earn every month. Meanwhile, when you look at the production aspect of it, it doesn't match. In your own way, how do you think we'll be able to make the Ghanaian worker happy and work to the optimum?
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee.
I have very full confidence in the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission as an organization that can help harmonize the policy and ensure that we get the best out of what we put in our workforce. I will definitely work with them to see how we can do it, because it is a complex issue. You are dealing with huge numbers of people. You are dealing with huge numbers of organizations. You want to create a situation where for each single person working, there is an output worth the while, worth the inputs. So it deserves a lot more thinking than just a direct answer I will give you. But I can assure you that it is something that I'm going to work very hard with the Fair Wages Commission to see how we can deal with it. Because it's also a constitutional issue. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Honorable Chair, how many follow-up questions can I have?
You are entitled to one follow-up question.
Okay.
Then please
Thank
move
you.
to your second
Thank
substantive
you, Honorable
question.
Chair. Let me move to my second question. Honorable Nominee, when you look at your sector as a ministry with all departments under your outfit, we realize that you have a total number of 547 employees. The Ministry, Labor Department, Department of Cooperatives, National Pension Regulatory Authority, and all others. Of this, we realize that the male staffers constitute 65%, and that of female is 35%. But you look at the workforce by our population census 2021, we realize that we have a population or a workforce of 14.3 million, or 14 thereabouts. It's out of this that we have the public sector engaging 668,000, which works out to about 4.65%. The remaining is for the private sector. You realize that the private sector constitutes the huge chunk of our labor force. What are you bringing on board as a minister, if you are approved, if you are given the nod, to ensure that the private sector is able to absorb more and more of Ghanaians into their fold?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In Ghana, we are developing a system of recording all vacancies available in all organizations, public and private sector, in the form of the labor market information system, which we will operate to cover everybody, to cover every sector in Ghana, in the public sector. What I will do is to encourage the private sector vigorously, to encourage the private sector to be part of it, to be part of the overall harmonizing effect of recording in a big data all working institutions, all institutions, and creating all the vacancies that are available in the institution, publishing those vacancies in the information system, and allowing advertising for people who are looking for jobs to be able to look in and be able to apply for those jobs. Now, once that system is in place, you will be having direct contact with the private sector. You will find which areas in the private sector are where are available for jobs for the people of Ghana, and you will work to encourage those areas. And indeed, what I want to encourage my government to do is to ensure that we embark on a system of providing support for private sector inputs into the economy, creating opportunities for people to get credits and investing in those credits and therefore creating opportunities for people to get jobs. And then, you know, in a snowball effect, also creating the wealth of the country through taxes into the consolidated fund. So actually, the private sector is not differentiated from our economy. It's a very key concept, part of our economy. And so encouraging them to do anything.
Honourable Member, be brief in your answer. Kindly be brief in your answer.
So we will encourage them to produce as much as they can, and we will support them. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Follow-up question on that. Thank you, Chair. As a follow-up question to that, I gave you the numbers with regards to employees within your outfit, which is a total of 5,647. And the indications are 65-35 in proportion, male-female. But when you look at the population census, we are almost the 2021 census indicate that female are 15.6 million and males 15.2, almost 50-50. How do you ensure that you create that balance between